Scotland's Deputy First Minister survives the vote of no confidence, the SNP's chief whip resigns, and we talk about Nicola Sturgeon's corruption in the NHS. Before we start today's programme, as you know, this lockdown has been hitting everyone, especially small British businesses. A while ago, I gave a shout out to one of these businesses, Fresh Essential. A couple of English guys in the country who have a really cool company. They provide food to high-end hotels and restaurants, but obviously hospitality is down, so they decided to go directly to consumers. Now, this is not a paid ad, I'm not getting anything out of it, but the last time I gave a shout out to them, thanks to you guys, not only they survived, but they've also added new products and recipes on their website. So, they got in touch with me again, they sent me more dried mango, fire-roasted nut, and everything else here. One thing they've added is a new breakfast kit. It's a new breakfast box, which is a one-stop shop, and the quality is world-class. Now, they've given me a new discount code, Maya10, and you guys were absolutely amazing last time. So if you, once again, want to support a small British business, if you want to support Fresh Essential and benefit from their brilliant products, then definitely check out the link in the description and use the code Maya10, and together, let's survive this lockdown. Hello everyone and welcome to today's second program. We always give you updates on SNP scandals and Scottish politics. Today, we have some news when it comes to the motion of vote of no confidence in the Scottish Parliament and how Nicola Sturgeon's just about surviving every single thing that you throw at her, but not everything. Things are escalating in Westminster with her MPs in UK Parliament. But the latest we have is that last night, Scottish Parliament voted, and they were planning to have a motion of no confidence in John Swinney for a few days, and he just managed to survive by two votes, 65 to 67. This guy managed to just about win and survive and keep his job, despite the fact that he was part of the cover-up. He refused to publish the legal advice that the SNP government received against Alex Salmond, and the whole case that completely escalated up to a point where Nicola Sturgeon was forced to be included in the hearing on Alex Salmond's case. Now, this is happening at the same time. People are saying that the public opinion on Nicola Sturgeon's performance when she appeared in front of the committee is that she wasn't too bad. They don't believe her, but they're saying that she performed well. And I've always warned you guys about this. Nicola Sturgeon is very good with media. And because her memory is so poor, because she doesn't remember anything, technically, she didn't lie. So technically, she didn't get caught or anything. So she managed to find the legal loopholes on how to answer questions or not answer questions. But this is just the beginning of problems for Nicola Sturgeon and her leadership, because her own chief whip in Westminster has now resigned over new allegations. Yes, you think that was it. More stuff is now coming out against SNP politicians. More complaints are now being filed against them, and this guy has now been forced to resign. And again, there will be more to follow. The problem is that they're now saying that Nicola Sturgeon once again knew and completely ignored it. Does she ever learn? I'm not really sure. But, she decided to obviously take the sides of her own establishment to make sure that everybody is protected, up to a point where she's going to be accidentally part of another cover-up. I'm just saying accidentally for legal reasons, just in case, because we need the actual evidence to come out before we make any allegations, and we don't do that on this channel. But this is not really looking good. At the same time, this is the same SNP government who doesn't really care about ordinary people in Scotland. We've seen the outcome of their actions actually show this. We know that the UK government in Westminster sent them a lot of money since 2020 as a part of the recovery package. And firstly, we don't know where the money went because they're not really spending it. We now have just heard that Nicola Sturgeon's government promised a £500 government bonus to the NHS staff in Scotland, and that hasn't happened. Not only hasn't happened, because one thing is, should you waste taxpayers' money? Right now, these people who are working for the healthcare system have been working really hard, so they need some sort of recognition. But it's not even about that. It's about the fact that you promised and you're not giving the money to them. Not only that, there's another problem here because ordinary people are not getting paid on a workers level, but fat cat bosses, part of the big corporations, they're getting paid in billions in lucrative healthcare contracts that have failed to pay the Scottish government. And now these companies are supposed to be helping, and they're not really doing it. Whether it's Serco or other companies that are part of these PFI schemes. Now, this is back in December when Nicola Sturgeon actually announced that all the staff will receive the bonus as a thank you for their hard work. But the money was have to be paid to all workers. They said, but at the end of February, you're all going to get your money. But massive PFI firm Serco, who run the non-medical services and a number of hospitals, have actually yet to send that money. Where is the accountability? Because we haven't elected Serco. We've elected Nicola Sturgeon and her government. I mean, of course, Serco is not going to answer to anybody. Technically, Serco has to answer to Nicola Sturgeon, but Nicola Sturgeon hasn't really done anything about this. She's vowed not to delay the reopening of hairdressers any longer than necessary. And she's talking about the rest of the lockdown, but she's not really talking about her own flaws and her own corruption at this point. This is not looking good. But we're talking about the politicians at this point. This is not really just biased against the left-wing socialist politicians like Nicola Sturgeon. We know they're always corrupted at this point, and the corruption comes from all sides. And also empty promises come from both sides. Selling out comes from both sides. This guy, Michael Gove, the guy who's supposed to have principle, up to a point, the guy who decided to ban plastic straws without having any proper plan to replace them with. But this guy, we now have new footage that's emerged from the past about his views on state control, on things like ID cards and things like health or immunity passports, and things like getting the government to control data and have your personal details stored. We now have this footage, which I'm going to show you. Just judge it for yourself. You might say that politicians change their mind, but Michael Gove, over the years, has said that he believes in his values. He doesn't change his mind, apparently. Apart from this issue,
we as free citizens devolve power upwards. We don't operate at the license or leisure or pleasure of those who happen to govern us at any given point. The idea that we should be licensed to exist by the state and that we have to have a card in order to access whatever it is that we've paid for seems to me, as a matter of principle, to be wrong. The general rule over human history is that once powers are yielded to the state at moments of crisis or emergency, it's never the case that the state, or very, very rarely the case, that the state hands them back.
Wow, okay. Now, this guy is now in charge of the review into the immunity passports that the government might introduce. On the one hand, when you talk about these passports, there are two versions. One is for international travel. And we know that that's going to be inevitable because a lot of countries and governments will be introducing them. China have already introduced theirs. And so if you want to go to Spain, for example, the Spanish government are going to introduce it. So you're going to have to, show some sort of evidence. We're talking about domestic ones. Firstly, you know that when you take a jab, if you take the jab, then you're going to get the actual card with the stamp and everything from the NHS. That's partly your evidence, and it's got the number on it as well. But if you're now talking about a digital passport where the government will control your data and you have to scan that like test and trace every time you go to a pub, and if you haven't had the jab for whatever reason, maybe you can't take it, maybe health reasons, and you're just young and you're not in a category to take it, you can't go to a pub, that's a problem. But Michael Gove was always against these sort of things, but now he's actually conducting this review. Again, I'm trying to be objective, and we have to see it from all sides at this point, but we criticize Nicola Sturgeon and her government. It's also best to focus on our government in London as well. Now, as part of our membership perks, on Wednesdays we have a Zoom video call with a number of members each week, and yesterday we had a really interesting conversation. We had a lot of really sound members who joined us. I'm going to show you highlights of a few minutes of the conversations we had. If you guys also want to be part of our Zoom calls and everything else that we do, then you could become a member of the channel for only £5. You could find the link in the description or find the join button next to subscribe, and you get to be part of our weekly Q&As, weekly video calls, and the newsletters that we're going to be launching from next week, and everything else as well. Just watch this clip and then we'll come back. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because, Good Morning Britain and ITV need to make up their mind, because the show did well because he was shouty. But as you said, they are very concerned when it comes to mental health and being kind. So you can't have both. Either have Piers Morgan or be kind.
I mean, the trouble is because the BBC is such a snooze fest.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just dire. It really is just so awful. I've given up on them both, really.
But yeah, every time you hear them, they rile you up.
The other thing I wanted to say, and I hope you don't mind if I just go straight in with this, I was very hopeful actually that you were going to run for mayor. Now I know you've heard this from everybody, but I really was. Are you not? They're definitely not. You said something about rather being dead in a ditch or in a ditch.
Well, all politicians say
I'm
that.
not sure, did you really mean that, or are you going to throw your hat in the ring?
Yeah, personally, there are way too many candidates this year. Way too many. And they're all going to split each other's votes anyway, so it's not the best time to run.
Hello, there's Andrew.
And Andrew's finally here. Hello.
Sorry. And why are the media not taking him up on it then, Maya, do you think?
Oh, it's not really biased against Sean Bailey or the Tories at this point, because I've been thinking about this, and there's this weird cycle right now, and that's why when Susan was saying that, we don't really watch the mainstream, is because they're just complacent and lazy with everything. There's nothing in the news. Like if you watch the news throughout the day, there's like 2 or 3 topics, and they're all like obvious stuff. So like they might like talk about the vaccine, the latest updates on vaccine. They'll probably talk about something gossipy like Meghan Markle or Piers Morgan, and then something else random, and they just repeat the same thing. The reason they're not Sean isn't getting attention is the same reason that Sadiq Khan is not getting attention. They're not even talking about London. They're not even talking about the SMP stuff. Like they're not talking about anything. Like the migrant boats, like so many issues. The NHS scandals in certain hospitals. No.
Yeah.
Well, I work for a Nordic company, and I was chatting to one of my Swedish colleagues today, and I said, if Sweden leaves the EU, I'll offer you a free trade deal.
And they're not in the EU.
Sweden is.
Sweden.
Oh, Sweden. Okay.
Norway isn't.
Increasingly getting.
Norway.
Yeah. They get increasingly fed up with it in Sweden.
I cannot wait for the French elections next year. It's going to be chaotic.
Oh yeah.
What do you think Marine Le Pen will get in?
Well, she definitely has a chance. It's not definite for now, but I think the way things are going for Macron's government, it's just going to go downhill. Unless he finds some sort of miracle, because there are going to be a number of problems for him.
I lived in Germany for 5 years, and in fact I missed the original referendum because of it. And when I was there, I got to realise that although the UK is supposed to have a north-south divide, it pales into insignificance compared with the one in Germany. In Germany, they have the Prussians and they have the Bavarians. They have a bumper sticker in Munich, where we were, and it says it's nice to be a Price, which is a Prussian, but it's higher to be a Bayer.
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks again for watching. As I said at the beginning of the video, definitely check out Fresh Essential. The link is in the description. I'll put the discount code Maya10 in there as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm Maya Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.